and welcome to Weigh In with Connie. Today, my guest star is the one, the only, the fabulous Jane with us, Scraptastic Yarns. I'm getting tongue tied, Jane. Sorry. How are you doing today, Jane?
I'm good. I'm uh, I'm getting over a little bit of a feeling yucky after my shingles vaccine, but other than that, I'm fine.
Yeah, I can relate because I've been under the weather lately. I've been fighting with the strep throat.
Ugh. And that's awful because it's hard to get rid of sometimes.
hmm Because what was funny with me was I was feeling better, and then it's like it got worse, and I was just about to go back to the doctor, and then I started feeling better again. So hopefully it's finished. Hopefully.
I hope so.
I'm getting frustrated because you know I want to do my lives like I'm supposed to. I want to put my content out for my channel like I'm supposed to. And I'm just like, this has not been a good year for just another stitch when it
Yeah,
comes to being around my channel regularly like I want to.
right.
I sure hope next year's a better year.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We're gonna make it a better year either way. We're gonna strive to it. Yeah, I know strep throat. The last time I had strep throat, I went through 4 different antibiotics because none of them
Wow.
worked. So yeah, it was rough. And like you, I didn't realize that I had strep throat. I just went in because I was like, it's a little sore, but it's nothing big.
And
Well,
what's funny was I was on antibiotics right before I tested positive.
yeah,
I'm like, but I do wonder if I could have been starting with it because
hey,
I,
and you'll never know. So
mhm, because like I was having some symptoms that, I do kind of wonder, was that the strep throat coming on? I,
yeah, and lots of times, my strep throat originally, I thought I had slept wrong. You know, I felt like, oh, I got a crick in my neck. And then the throat started getting sore, and when I went in, they're like, "Oh, you probably had strep throat. It's probably in your neck." I'm like, "What? What?
like you will like through
You
here.
make this stuff up, you guys." But apparently, it can happen that way. It show up in different places first.
But I mean, you know, but I'm feeling good today, so that's all that matters today.
That's it. That's good.
And y'all, I am working on my make alongs. I'm hoping to put the supply list video for the crochet Frankie scarf out. I'm hoping Monday. I don't think it would be later than Tuesday because at this point, all I have left, I have a row of single crochet, the very last row of that scarf. Then I gotta make 4 eyes, 4 bolts. Do the embroidery work for the face. Um, like sew the eyes on. I think the bolts I'm gonna crochet when I'm crocheting them. I'm gonna connect it at the same time.
Yeah.
That works out like I'm hoping. um, and then the fringes. So hopefully. And then I got to work on the knit along. I'm hoping to get that finished by the end of this week.
You mean that is if Buddy doesn't help you with the filming?
But yeah, I it's like it's taking me longer than what I intended to get everything out. So I do apologize. Life happens.
Oh, that's it.
All right, let's see. Anita did pop by before the live. I'm not sure she's gonna pop back up, but I do hope you feel better, Anita. And then we have Deborah, who just finished the shawl. Ooh, I love shawls.
Those are
Um, I'd love for you to send a picture of it. Um, and I would love to be able to include it in the finished projects video, which hopefully I get done the 15th of this month. Um, I've been kind of a little behind on stuff. I need to play catch up. But anyway, howdy Deborah, and we have Rudy, Bryn Michelle, Sabrina, and Frozen Stone. I don't think I'm familiar with you, Frozen Stone. What's your first name? Is this the first time coming to one of my lives? If so, I'm glad you're here and I hope you enjoy. Oh, it's your first commission, Deborah? Awesome. But yeah, those of y'all that are here, let us know in the chat and welcome, welcome. And I also want to welcome those that will be watching the replay. And those watching the replay, please leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know that you watched, and um, there will be a few questions we ask on today's live. So feel free to leave your answers. This is my weigh in with Connie live, and the main topic today is going to be healthy recipes. Um, oh, and one thing I do need to mention before we get started on stuff, I am not an expert. I'm just a yarny girl that has done some research with my own experience of losing weight in the past and my current weight loss journey. So, stuff that I talk about and share is based on that. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Before you start any type of weight loss journey or exercise regimen, I advise that you consult with your doctor. And especially if you have certain health issues,
Mhm.
it's always good to keep your doctor in the loop, you know.
It's important to keep the doctor in the loop.
Exactly. And you got to apply that, your health things. Like, for instance, some of my health issues, I have to eat low sodium. I'm diabetic, so I have to watch my carbs and my sugar. So you have to take some of those things into consideration, or you might not be as able bodied.
Mhm.
And just because I mentioned something like to do with exercise, that doesn't mean that you should go out and do like 100 jumping jacks if you're not able-bodied enough.
I'd probably break an ankle if I tried a hundred.
Yeah, I can't do the jumping jacks anymore.
Non-jumping jumping jacks. Is that a thing? Non-jumping jumping jacks?
Actually, there is a low impact way to do them.
Way to do it without jumping, and I do that.
Hmm. I don't like the jumpiness.
There.
Because one thing was like, I've lost a lot of weight in the past, which I gained back. A lot of y'all know my history with my weight struggles. And and I got excess skin, which that is one thing when you lose a lot of weight, it's going to happen.
Yep.
Exercise does help with it, but it's still going to happen.
Yeah, the only other option for that is a very extreme surgery, and
Mhm.
and I would really seriously think about whether you want to go that route. I have a friend who did that, and she came back weight after she'd lost all that and had that surgery. And so that's no longer an option for her if she loses weight again. And it was very extreme. I mean, they literally cut you in half and remove things that, ugh. And
And
there's
that's
a
one.
long recovery period from it.
And like whenever I jump, I would have that issue with the stomach because it would hurt with the extra skin.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. We have some more people that have arrived. Welcome in, everyone. We have Michelle and also Zara. How are y'all and what are y'all working on? Okay, Frozen Stone is with Jane.
Yep.
Okay. Um,
She's
do
one of
you
my
want
gals.
do you want me just to call you Frozen Stone or do you want me to call you by your first name? And if so, what's your first name? Let's see. Michelle says my physical disabilities are what hold me back and makes things difficult. And it does. Like, there's chair options, chair aerobics. And I found this really good one that I've shared on my community page a while back. He plays some good music. I like his music.
Yeah. And, and there's quite a few things that you can do with the chair as well as in your bed, on the edge of your bed, in bed itself. You can use a wall for push ups. I mean, there's all kinds of exercises that you can do to help with that you're not really using a gym. And I mean, come on, gyms are kind of expensive anyway. Why not use what's around you? And,
And
I did this whole thing, I think about a week and a half ago about gardening, dancing. Come on,
mhm.
dance. Have some fun in your living room.
And
Dance in your chair.
there's so many free videos on YouTube.
Yes.
I'm I'm trying to remember the guy's channel name that I was referring to, but I know he has like what's called like silver sneakers.
Yeah.
Might be able to look that up and find him.
And June.
Um, but like I mean, like one video, he's playing 80s music. I'm like, ooh, sweet, and some good songs. Um, because I love whenever like they play good music, but I
Yep.
get why they don't often do it because of the copyrights. And
Yeah.
one thing is, like for aerobics music, you have what's called free. And then you got others that you gotta pay for the rights. Um,
Hmm.
kind of like aerobics classes, like at the gym, they have to pay for certain music that they play.
Yeah.
Um, I almost became an aerobics teacher at the Y back whenever I was in good shape. That's why I know about that. But yeah, I am curious. Those of y'all with y'all weight loss journeys, how's your progress been going? Let us know. You know, if you've been losing weight or even non-scale victories, because that's a big accomplishment.
I'm right now in one of those where I'm not losing, the scale isn't showing it, but I'm seeing it in being stronger in the things that I'm doing, and seeing things tone up differently than what I was used to. And I, I'm going to admit, I don't like it when it's not scale related. I
I
want
know
to
it.
see scale
it
going down.
it's hard because we're so focused on that scale.
That's right. That can
And
become
that's
a too big of a focal issue sometimes.
And that's not the only way to measure your success and your accomplishments.
Right.
Sometimes that scale may not have budged, but your clothes are fitting looser.
Yep. Or,
Um,
or you've got to take those shirts in, or,
mm,
you realize all of a sudden, the underwear don't fit anymore. They keep falling down. I had that happen. I was like, why do I have to keep pulling them up in my pants? Oh, I guess it's time for a new set of underwear.
I love Jay. Yeah, and kind of like health benefits, improved health,
Mhm.
moving better. Um, Sometimes it may help you sleep better at night.
Yes, definitely. That's helped me a lot. Sleep has been an issue for me for a long time, and I find I am sleeping better, much better at night.
Better mental status.
Mental clarity.
I mean, there's so many. So, yeah, share with us. Or if you're struggling,
Right. Share those struggles. You may be able to help someone else who's
mhm,
struggling with the same thing just because you're admitting that that is a struggle.
and if you don't feel comfortably talking about something publicly, like in the chat or in the comment section, you can always email me and I'll do what I can to try to help encourage and motivate you. You know, I want to see everyone succeed with their goals. You can do it, put your mind to it.
Well, we all need to be cheerleaders for each other anyway. Period.
But I see we have some new people. I'm going to be greeting everyone in just a minute. Welcome in those that are joining us. Um, but yeah, you know, I know like I had I was at 48.2 pounds that I lost since I think like April 3rd or April 4th of this year. But my last doctor's appointment, the scale did go up. Um, I don't know what happened. I'm hoping maybe it was just a weight fluctuation. Be-
And let's keep in mind when you're building muscle, muscle weighs more than fat. So that may be some of that change you're seeing is that fat is changing over to muscle. You've burned that brown fat so that you are gaining muscle and you are going to have some weight fluctuations.
and like my weight can do that. Like you could see like a 10-pound difference the same day.
Oh yeah, easy.
And it could have been like, how much water I drank or what I ate before, and not to be TMI, but sometimes if you have to go potty can make a difference.
Big difference.
I'm not going to go into detail, but
Y'all can figure it out. Well, I know, for me, lots of times, if I've had more carbs than normal, because I too am a diabetic, um, sometimes that I'll retain more fluid because of those carbs. Because I don't really watch my salt. I'm not a big salt anyway, but sometimes you don't realize some of those carbs you're eating have a higher sodium content in them.
it's it's
So
sodium.
fluid. Yeah.
Sodium makes a difference because if you're retaining fluids. So I want to like next time I go, I want to see what happens. But what's funny is I do feel like my clothes are fitting looser. And even Frank was saying, like this shirt I'm wearing today, he's like, "Oh, it's fitting you looser."
Hmm.
So I don't, but it does worry me though that I had a gain, but I'm trying not to let it get to me.
And I think that's especially hard for us as women because we're always judged by weight, and they're like, oh, well, you're not really trying. And, people have no idea the kind of struggle it is to lose weight. It is
So,
difficult. And the older you get, the harder it gets. I'm at that stage of life, my metabolism has slowed down.
and
So,
statistics are against us.
yeah,
Because, I mean, I'm not trying to sound discouraging, but they do say, like, 5 years after losing weight, you normally gain weight back.
yeah,
And if you think about it, how many people do you know that's lost a good bit of weight that have kept it off long term? Like you see them 10 years later and that weight's still gone. And that's one thing, like, because I've yo yoed with my weight so much. And it was always embarrassing to me whenever
yeah.
I put the weight back on. Because you're over there like, oh, gee, they're thinking, gosh, she put on some weight.
Yeah, she says she's dieting. Yeah, right.
But those that struggle with weight issues, and it can go in the opposite direction
Oh,
too.
yeah. I have a girlfriend that can't gain weight,
And
and it's hard for her. People uh, they'll tell her, "Well, like, are you bulimic?" Well, no, she's not bulimic, but she just has trouble gaining weight. So,
so it's like, and that's where, like, it aggravates me when people judge people based on their weight. There's more to a person,
a
more
lot.
meaningful things. It's about what's in here.
And you don't know what you're missing by skipping them over. Sometimes that may be the person that blesses your life the most.
An amazing person.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. Did I greet Zara?
Yes.
Okay. Um, that's okay. Frozen Stone says frozen is fine. Okay, got it. I'm Connie, by the way. I can be a little goofy and silly. Okay, Zara's crocheting a bod shawl for her mom. Her birthday and anniversary is coming up in 10 days. Oh, I hear Buddy meowing in the background. He's meowing at Frank. He's a daddy's cat.
Yeah.
That boy's something else. But he was chilling by me most of today in his cat bed I made. All right, we have Scraptastic Crocheter. I don't think I'm familiar with you either. Is this your first time coming to my live? What's that?
Said she's across the pond, if I remember correctly.
I figure she's probably one of your people, huh, Jane?
Um, I don't know that she is or not, to be honest. I mean, I recognize a lot of these names, but then, I tend to lurk in lives. I don't always comment because usually I'm crocheting because lately that's the only time I have to crochet. So, but I do know that I watch her channel. She does a lot of lives.
And I know sometimes too, like sometimes people watch your channel and stuff, but depending on like how much they comment or show up in lives, you're familiar with those more. And sometimes someone could be watching your channel and you're like, welcome to my channel.
Yeah.
And they're like,
You're like, I've been watching you since day one. Oh, okay, sorry.
and I feel kind of bad afterwards. I'm like, but it's hard to keep track of everybody. And YouTube isn't always the best for letting you know everyone. I don't like the word subscriber. But
It's odd word. I say subscriber, but I don't. It feels cold.
I like saying Yorny friend.
I feel like everyone is my friend. So, you know,
or or Yorny aliens. But then I even call people that don't watch my channel that too. So, but
well,
anyway,
I'm an alien anyway, so that's beside the point. Sweden, that's where I kept trying to remember where you were from. Yeah, Sweden.
I'm from
Scraptastic.
Louisiana.
Well,
All
and
right,
I grew up in alien land, so that's why I'm an alien.
I love my aliens. And I may have even watched Scraptastic Crocheters channel before, and it just not ringing a bell. But
When you
what's your first?
when you see her, you'll remember her.
Probably. What's your first name? Scraptastic. All right, let's see.
And
Uh,
I always giggle because Adele calls me Scraps, and I love that. It just makes me giggle every time I see that when she says, "Hey, Scraps."
let's see. Okay, I think Michelle's saying that her weight has stalled. Are you seeing any like non-scale victories? And Sabrina says, or why not just go for a nice walk? Walking is great exercise and completely free. Yeah. And there are so many
Yep.
free. And then one thing I love about YouTube, and those that are like in better shape, like one channel I really recommend is, now my mind goes to a blank. Oh, I can't think of her channel. And Angie Fitness. I used to do her videos a lot. And she does have like a lot of like walking type videos. She's kind of in between.
And
Like if
who is it? Denise Austin that has the Walk Fit videos?
she may, I know,
It's
oh,
Denise somebody, and usually she'll have like 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes worth of walking videos for you to do. And one thing she stresses, I do know, is if you can't keep up, just do what you can and move when you can. So,
mm, Leslie Sansone is the other one I'm thinking
yeah,
of.
that's the other one
She
too.
she does a lot of walking videos, and I have a lot of her DVDs. And some of them she has some good music.
Yeah.
I'm a music person.
Yeah.
But
You can't do it to music, don't do it.
and sometimes like washing dishes or cooking in the kitchen and just do it to the music.
Yep. Or as my sons used to tell me, Mom, you're always wiggling your butt. Well, okay, just moving. Movement is important.
And like one thing, like, and this is one thing that I've been experiencing. My back hasn't been bugging me that much.
Yeah.
Now, some of it's from the weight loss and all. Some of it, I've been doing physical therapy and they've been using the TENS machine, cupping, having me do some, like more stretchy type exercises.
And they're probably having you do more core exercises too.
Hmm.
Core is real important. And if you don't know what core is, it's your abdomen. It's those abdominal muscles, which also, ladies, as we get older, sometimes we pee a little when we laugh. That core is real important. So those exercises will help you avoid doing that.
Jay cracks me up. I love Jay. Like
It's
Jane
part of
just
life.
like I don't know. Like Jane's like this motherly hen type. That's like the vibe she gives me. Let me know if y'all agree. All right. And I do want to welcome everyone that has joined us. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. And then I'm gonna start getting into healthy recipes. Hopefully give y'all some good ideas.
Now, Michelle just also pointed out that she's has a lot of stress and she thinks that's what her stall is related to.
It
Stress
can be.
is an extremely important factor when it comes to weight loss. And on top of the mobility issues you have, I'm I can imagine why you're in a stall. I certainly can because yeah, stress plays a big part of that.
And sometimes when you stress eat.
Right. I stress eat.
And I don't know if y'all do this. Because you know how like a lot of times when people don't feel good, like you got a cold or something, that's when people tend to lose weight, like whenever they're sick and stuff. I tend to want to eat when I'm sick.
Comfort. Something my mother always did when we were sick is we always had ginger ale and peaches, and she would give us our favorite foods.
Ooh,
For me,
peaches.
that was pudding. Well,
But yeah, let's see. Angel Renee is here. Howdy, howdy. She's spending the day out with her husband, so leaving a thumb. Oh, I don't think she's here anymore. But I
yes.
hope you have an amazing day. Don't do anything I would do. We have Miguel here. Howdy, howdy. How's the chickens? Uh Let's see. Yeah, and let us know what all y'all working on too. We also have Amber. How are you? Welcome, welcome. And those with channels, if you want Mr. Nightbot to drop your channel link, type the word drop, like in drop it like it's hot. And Mr. Nightbot will drop your channel link. But if someone just typed it, you might want to wait a little bit because if it's typed entered too closely together, it may not, it may glitch and not drop your link. Then just type it again, if that happens to you. Let's see, we have Jennifer, Linda here. Ah, awesome. So Jennifer's telling Miguel, don't get your feet wet visiting. Okay, Scraptastic says, "Oh yes, I've been lurking around and found Jane's channel a long time ago. She's not good about commenting and letting people know she's been there. Yeah, and that's fine because I'm guilty of that too. Like, I mean, like some channels, like I love true crime, and I love like I have certain channels I love, and I've never commented.
Hmm. I always try to leave a thumbs up, though.
Yeah,
That's important too to the algorithm. And I know they say comments, and I'm trying to get better at that.
and I know it is important.
Even just to say hi. I
And with
enjoy.
like especially when I'm watching from my TV because you can't comment on the TV.
I mean, come on, TVs, fix it.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be smart. Apparently, you're not smart enough, TVs.
Yeah, that's like, like you have like the TV that's not a smart TV. I call it a dumb TV. And like for the longest time, we didn't have a smartphone. And I always called my phone a dumb phone.
Now you say that, and I always tease I have the smart A phone, because it'll tell me what's what.
Let's see. We have Chris here. Welcome, welcome. Ah, alien emojis. Michelle saying she's a lurking queen. Let's see. Okay, and Scraptastic is in Sweden, which was mentioned. And you know what's funny? Like my mom's side of the family is from Sweden. My grandfather on my mom's side was a pure Swede. So I'm a quarter. That's why I got the big hips. It's all good. Sabrina, I I love the lurkers. You can come in on my lives at any time. You can leave at any time. You're always welcome. You can chat, chat, chat. You can lurk. It's all good. Let's see. And yes, Scraptastic says I'm always busy crocheting, so I'm often lurking. Okay, her name's Amanda. I'm gonna try to remember that. Yeah, I wish I crocheted faster. I need to pick up speed with my crochet. But
Well, that's like, I told you I was working on this shirt. I'm doing it in half double crochets, and I recently learned how to do two half double crochets rows at once. I'm loving it.
like I always say, it's not a contest. As
No,
long as you can make stuff, that's what matters.
that's right.
Never too old to wiggle the booty.
Yeah.
Hey Tank, how are you today? And what are you working on? Michelle says I'm at this point not. I honestly think the stall is stress related. I have extreme family stress right now. I'm super limited on the mobility. It's more than YouTube will let me explain in a chat message. Well, I hope things get better. And like I said, if you need to talk, you can always email me. Um, Maybe I can give you some helpful advice. But the main thing is always try to be positive. Positivity is a huge thing. And it just puts you in a better mindset. And even when, you're going through the storm that life throws you. And I know things can be hard and it can be easier said than done. But, you know, if you can have that positive outlook, it really does help. Let's see. Let's
Let me answer Linda and Michelle, Nana Michelle, about the two half double crochets at
okay.
once. They're basically like stack stitches. Once you get started like this, you're basically going to go in and go down into that one first half of the bottom loop, yarn over, go into that next stitch, and they're basically just a stack stitch. Sometimes I think they're called linked stitches, possibly, sort of like a technique using Tunisian as well as crochet.
Ooh.
But what I would do is, of course, YouTube. Go in and do a search for two half double crochets at the same time. That's what I did because someone told me about it. So I was curious about that, but I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. going back.
It's always fun to learn like new techniques and stitches.
And that's probably why I'm enjoying it so much because it is basically a new stitch to me. So,
You know what I think I'm going to aim for next year? Next year is going to be the year of Connie designs.
yes.
Well, for the most part, there may be a few things I work on that will be someone else's projects, especially stuff that like I've started that I need to get finished.
I'm a big fan of those.
Oh, I've come up with a lot of ideas for like some make alongs or designs, So I'm like, ooh, I got some good ideas in here.
Well, I hope you're writing them down so that they're not just up here.
I made a list of some of
Yeah.
the ideas so that way, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna forget this. And I really would like to start doing too, because I had done a little bit with stitch tutorials,
Hmm.
but like this year has been a crazy year for me. Um, I've been away from my channel more than what I like. I mean, most of y'all know what's going on with me this year, but I really want to try to get it where I start doing like once a week, probably on Wednesdays, doing a stitch tutorial. Stitching Wednesdays, I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about calling it. um, because I love learning like new stitches. Because a lot of times when I design a pattern, I find like new stitches that I've never done before. um, but I mean, there's so many beautiful stitches out there.
And so many of them we don't use. I've looked through some of my stitch books and I'm like, maybe I just need to start doing it.
Okay, I'm gonna skim the chat um because I need to get to sharing recipes.
Yep.
Or else y'all won't get no recipes today because I can talk. All right, let's see. I'm mostly looking for people that have joined us and like questions, that type of thing right now. We have Michelle that joined us. I like that. Tank says drop it like it's smoking. Let's see. And if I miss greeting anyone, I do apologize. We have Bryn Michelle. Um, Denine's here. Or if you ask a question too that gets missed, just like repeat it in the chat. Let's see. Okay. And you did answer about um where you had seen that stitch at, right, Jane? Okay.
Yep.
I thought you did. And then Nana Michelle's asking what is two um half double crochet once. Okay. Give me just a second. Oh, we have Kim here too, yearning for a smile. Welcome, welcome. And Jamie with Jamie's hook. Let's see, I think that's everybody. Okay, and I think we got everyone's questions so far. All right, so y'all ready for recipes? First, I'm gonna share more like some good sources to find different recipes. Some of these are ones that Jane sent to me. Some of these are ones that are kind of my go-to sites. Um, Now, with those links you sent me, were there any certain recipes you wanted me to talk about from
No,
them?
because a lot of those will cater to different types of diets, like low carb diets, low sodium, just low fat, whatever the person's diet regimen is. And that's why I chose those sites, because they do have quite a number of those. Um, I'm one of those, if it's simple, I don't want something that has 2,000 ingredients in it, that I have to go buy a big jar of this that I'm going to use once. You know,
Yes, that can be aggravating.
and I will tell you honestly, a lot of these recipes, those sites that I've looked at, I will substitute something if I don't have, because I find that, like I said, I'm not going to run out and get that spice for whatever, because I don't have it, and I know I'm not going to use it. Like, I don't use 5-star spice hardly ever. Um, my husband wanted it for one of the recipes that he had, so I now have this huge jar of 5 spice that I probably will never use.
Now, I do have a lot of different seasonings because
Mhm.
I'm on a low sodium diet.
Seasonings are important. That can substitute for a lot of other
Mhm.
things that you have to take out because of certain health issues.
And I would make a lot of my own seasoning mixes. So, I do have like spices that you don't typically see in people's spice
Right.
cabinet.
And
Oh,
and and like I said, I'm one of those. I'll do something basic, like take a very low sodium salsa, pour it over chicken in the crock pot,
mhm.
let it cook, and then, depending on whether I want rice or cauliflower rice, or even just to put it over tortillas, low carb tortillas, because I follow a more low carb keto esque diet, um, because that's what works for me with my diabetes right now. Um, and I find that those simple things help me a lot, um, just because it's a simple recipe.
Hmm. I see we have China that joined us. How are you today? And what are you working on? Yeah, and making your own spice blends can be more cost effective.
Very.
Too. Like one thing that would drive me crazy, I like pumpkin spice seasoning, but you can only find those little bottles of McCormick in my area. I'm like, no, no, no. So I looked up how, what I needed to make my own, got those spices, and I always make my own. All right. And another thing too I want to mention too, you can always make recipes your own. Don't be afraid to play with them. And like those of y'all that have to watch your sodium, you can convert a lot of things to being low sodium. And I'm pretty knowledgeable on that.
Mhm.
So if you have questions about that, email me and you know, I can help you. I can help you. Help, help, help. All right. So let's get started with some of these sites. And all these links are in the description box of today's live. This is Pound Dropper.
That's a good site.
Hmm. And I think a lot of the recipes being shared today are more weight, the Weight Watchers program friendly. Um, Now I do want to later on share like some that are more friendly to like keto or maybe like I always say it wrong. It's spelled Paleo. Paleo, I think.
Yeah, paleo.
Mm. But this. is a good source. And you just go like to recipe index. They have different categories, and it shows you how to make so many things healthier. Now, I do want to warn y'all, like there are snack items in moderation, they're okay. If you like watch, like I advise like keeping track, like my fitness pal is a good source to calculate like how many like calories and stuff that you should take in based on like how much weight you want to lose or if you want to maintain your weight. Um, because you can fit certain things in if you're wise, but be careful. And like me, stuff like that are trigger foods for me.
Mm-hmm.
And be careful of trigger foods.
Also, be careful of portion sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can have a cup, which is that's half a cup of ice cream. Most
Measure,
people
measure, measure.
most people will put 2 heaping scoops so it's over. That's not half a cup. Portion sizes are important.
And one thing is, let me know if y'all want to see have me share even more recipes, which I do plan to. Because there's so much. Um, and can give y'all a lot of good ideas. And I'm a foodie. I love to
I
eat.
am too. I didn't get this way because of nothing. Um,
And I've played a lot with like recipes and stuff. But I do find trigger foods is best not to bring into your house. If you can't control yourself and
don't
don't
do,
fool yourself.
don't think you could. Don't think you can do just half a cup if you know darn well that you're not gonna. I mean, it's better off to keep it out of the house. At least that's what I found for myself as well. Jamie mentioned that she's not a fan of processed foods. That is a huge challenge, Jamie. It is difficult to stay away from processed foods because they make it so dadgum easy to fix them.
And this is one thing, processed foods are high in sodium.
Very high.
Because whenever I had to start watching my sodium, I had to fix a lot of stuff from scratch.
Yeah.
So, and processed foods, the stuff they add.
And you got to be careful of those foods that say they're sugar free, diet free, because just like that, they have high sodium. Um, there is
Mm,
a there is a special tri sugar salt that's added to a lot of foods that basically almost make you addicted to them because you
mhm.
combo.
Exactly. And you tend to eat processed foods faster. They don't fill you up, therefore, you eat more. And they do that on purpose to get you to buy their product or eat at their restaurant. It's all about eat more, spend your money.
Also, when you're eating at restaurants, keep in mind that the reason that most of them use the color red is because it makes you want to eat more. It is a happy color.
And I do find the wiring of your brain plays a big factor. And that's a topic that we previously discussed. Um, you know, learning how to rewire your brain.
And if you slip, just get back on the wagon. Just get back
Yeah.
to it. Don't beat yourself up. Just get back.
Mm-hmm. Even if it takes you a week to get back on track, as soon as you can pull yourself together, do it. Because I know, like, that's one problem I have. I mess up, and sometimes it takes me like a week to get myself back on track.
Yeah. I've had times where it's almost taken me a full 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
because I went hog wild.
All right. So this is Skinny Kitchen, and another good source. And then you have the recipe index that you can click on. Again, breaks it up into categories. Oh, and right here, copycat. I love copycat recipes.
That is my favorite on that website.
Mhm. I mean, you could have, like, Starbucks type frappuccinos on the skinnier side. And like one thing I want to mention, eat what goes according to your dietary needs.
Right.
Like, just because I share a recipe that's not diabetic friendly, I'm not telling a diabetic, hey, cook this.
Yeah, you really need to follow what works for you, your
Mhm,
dietary needs. Um, I have friends with good intentions that tell me that, oh, well, you need to eat more of this and this and this and more rice and all this. And I'm like, no, you don't understand what it does to my blood sugars.
mhm,
It has taken me years to learn how food
mhm.
reacts with my body.
And with like diabetics, you know, how foods do with one diabetic versus another is different.
It's very different, and it depends on the stage of diabetes you're in, whether you are a brittle diabetic or what. A brittle diabetic is normally someone who can go in and out of ketoacidosis quickly because of what they ate or didn't eat. So, you have to learn what works for your body. Um, and I have this conversation with the diabetic educator all the time. When they teach you a diabetic diet, I think it's way too high in carbs because when I
Right.
followed that diabetic diet, my blood sugar, my AC1s were 8.1. Now that I don't follow it and I follow a more lower carb towards a keto diet, my A1C is 5. So, you know, but that took a lot of time for me to learn that. And, you just have to learn what works for your body. And
Exactly.
for those folks that don't know what an A1C is, it is basically a conglomerate of what your blood sugars are over a 3 to 6 month period, normally 3 months. And what it does is it gives the doctor a picture of what your blood sugars run. Like, I believe if your A1C is like a 7.0, a 6.5 to a 7.7, then your blood sugars normally run somewhere between 130 and 180 on a regular basis all the time. Uh, Most doctors want you below that number, but some of them will accept that because that's good for you. So, and that is something you need to work out with your doctor as well. Be very open and honest with your doctor. Ask a lot of questions. If they can't give you the answers, they will find someone to give you those answers.
And another thing too, because this is something I experienced. If you feel your doctor isn't helping you, don't be afraid to find another doctor.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't be afraid to fire your doctor.
Because the doctor I used to see, I mean, I don't want to badmouth him or anything, but I didn't find he was helping, you know. And like whenever I was in the hospital earlier this year, that's where I met Dr. Well, I'm not going to say his name, for privacy
Met your
reasons.
new doctor.
But I like to call him Dr. Honk though.
Eye candy is important too sometimes. That'll give you motivation itself.
But anyway, but I found, he was helpful, and he seemed like he really truly cared. So I started seeing him, and my health has been improving, you know.
Well, and you really have to keep in mind too, doctors do not get a lot of education in nutrition, dietary needs, nutrition. I think from what I remember, nurses, we got more education than a doctor did, which if the doctor is the one that's telling you to do these things, I think they should have more education than a nurse. However, some doctors take it upon themselves to learn more, to educate themselves more about things, about the way that the body works and how it responds to food and how food is fuel and how important it is to what's going on in your body. Whereas other doctors just take one thing and they just run with it because they can't be bothered with learning. They're educated enough. And I've found that a lot with some doctors. Some, they get upset because you won't take their advice or you question them. When they do that, that's the first time I say, all right, fine, I won't be back. Because if you're not going to entertain my questions and see that I have some concerns, that means that you either think that you're so full of your own knowledge that I have to absolutely do what you want, or you're not willing to help me find a solution for a problem that I see, which for me, with my doctor, was my issue with my fibromyalgia. There are times I can exercise out the wazoo, but then there are times when I'm lucky if I can move out of the bed. So, there's a fine line.
And like with my doctor, he takes his time with you. He
That's
doesn't rush
important.
you.
Yeah.
Because a
You
lot
know,
of people, he's in that
you need a number.
he's in that room with you a good 30 minutes.
Yeah. And that's good.
And then like he stays on top of things because like, he'll follow up where my old doctor was not good about staying on top of things and following up. So, find a good doctor if you can.
Yep.
Yes, Sabrina saying how cholesterol is important. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you also have to remember, my doctor tells me, she said, I'm one of those lucky ones. And by the way we joke about it is because my cholesterol is high and everything we have done, nothing has helped it. And we know that. And that is just because of hereditary and whatever. And there are some things that just can't be changed, like your hereditary
How,
issues. You're
you
not
know,
going to change that. You're not going to change your race. You're not going to change certain things that affect it, because there are certain people that are going to have higher incidences of diabetes, high cholesterol, those things, because it also goes along with their culture as well as their ethnicity. That's just
mm-hmm.
the way we're designed, unfortunately.
And when it comes to like, fats, go for healthy fats.
Yes.
Avoid triglycerides. um,
And I would say avoid those fast foods because, first of all, they cook it in that god awful grease that tastes bitter. It tastes bitter to me when I eat anything that's cooked by it. So I figure if it tastes bitter, it's not good for me.
Let's see. Pam at least was here. So it looks like she's doing the hi bye game.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Ooh, enjoy Hobby Lobby. You're gonna have to tell me
Oh,
about the yarn and what you bought. um, okay, Sabrina, you have a good day. Hopefully, I haven't missed anything. Oh, we have Maggie that joined us. Howdy, howdy. Um, we have Melanie. Okay. All right. I need to get with the recipes. And Jane, if you can kind of keep an eye on the chat because
okay.
my eyes are off the chat more. Oh, Spring's here. Howdy, howdy.
Did we get Melanie? Melanie's here.
Yeah, I had gotten her. Yeah, my eyes are off the chat more, pulling up the screen. So I'm not ignoring anybody. All right, Skinny Taste is another good one for recipes. And like I said, they have a category index. You can search for stuff. Okay. And I haven't even gotten to the actual recipes yet. All right. This one is Lelouch. And they, you could either go to like all recipes and they have the recipe index too.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, this is one that a lot of people that do Weight Watchers.
I know a lot of people use that yogurt to make breads and biscuits with.
And actually, that's something I wanted to talk about. And some of the recipes are that way. I used to do that a lot. Now, the main recipe for it, you use uh, self rising flour and yogurt, plain yogurt, and you basically mix the two and you make a dough, and you can do all sorts of things like pizza crust, bagels.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I have a recipe book that a guy wrote that has all kinds of recipes in it with that.
Now the idea is to use some more higher protein yogurts.
Hmm.
Protein's more filling. Now what I would do because of the sodium and self-rising flour, I would get the special baking powder that doesn't have sodium and
Make,
use regular flour and add that baking powder to it.
right, because that's all self-rising flour is.
Hmm. They just
Is
add baking powder to it. Um, but like I said, I know some people, the carbs that may but not be, some people watch their carbs more than other people. You know,
Yeah, but at the holidays, I don't mind making some biscuits or something like that because I know it's a holiday.
and sometimes like as moderation is your key.
That's right.
Mm. And you could probably even use like the wheat flour. And I wonder if you can use some of the other flours that like kind of like the almond flour. I wonder if that could work.
I don't know. I'd have to look into that
Because I know
because
those flours can be
good protein flour.
tricky.
So I do know
Um,
I've seen recipes where they've used the almond flour and mixed it with some protein, whey protein, to help give it even more protein and give it more of a bread-like consistency.
Color is
And
spring.
otherwise, almond flour is kind of like corn flour.
Spring saying as a carboholic, I watch them all as they enter my.
Yeah, I used to do that too, Spring.
And you know what? even if like someone watching that
Yeah,
that isn't looking to eat healthier, the recipes that we share could still give y'all ideas.
that's
You
right.
know, you'd be like, "Ooh, let me Google to see what other recipes I can find for this dish." This is Emily Bites, and she has a lot of good ones. Here's the recipes by categories. Alrighty. The skinniest dish is another one.
Hi,
Oh,
Laura
wait.
Lee.
Howdy, Laura Lee. How are you today? All right, drizzle me skinny. Oh, that looks good right there. And I think I may have be one that I bookmarked. I think it is. Yeah, well, it is. Chicken parmesan spaghetti bake.
Well, that looks good.
And actually, I think these three here, the taco fiesta bubble and the homemade hamburger helper. And even if you don't want to use like pasta, if you're going to use pasta, it's best to use like the whole wheat. But I mean, you can use like spaghetti squash.
That's one of my favorites to use spaghetti squash.
You can
Oh, yeah.
use vegetables a lot.
I use a lot of zoodles, zucchini
Hmm.
that you
You
just
can,
turn into noodles.
you can get a spiralizer, spiralizer.
Paralyzer.
Um, yeah,
And they're pretty cheap.
and I've seen like the butternut squash. Now that would be harder to
I
at
don't
least
know. I always thought butternut squash was kind of sweet.
it does have some sweetness to it. Oh, I love butternut squash. Um, but I know like Walmart has the butternut squash noodles.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
what
those.
and I go for the ones that don't add the sodium. Uh which you know, as far as trying to spiral your own, you'd probably need more of an electric spiral machine. Like mine was the one that you
Well, that's what I have, and that's what I use, you know. And I would
oh,
like to have an electric one because that would be a whole lot easier.
I know. One day I'll invest in an electric one. I see Zach's here. Howdy, howdy, Zach. All right, this is the site I love. And I have like most of her cookbooks.
She
Hungry
has
Girl.
she has some wonderful recipes, absolutely fantastic.
Hmm. She pretty much shows you how to make anything healthier. And hers is geared, a lot towards Weight Watchers.
Mhm.
Um, her older books are more towards the older programs of Weight Watchers. You know how Weight Watchers changes every year.
Well, yeah, they do that for a reason.
But I love a lot of her recipes. And actually, a lot of recipes that I'm planning to share today are her recipes from her website. But I love Hungry Girl.
And Michelle has joined us.
Oh, hi, Michelle. How are you today? I'm so happy to see all of y'all. Yeah, 1 cup of cube butternut squash is about 63 calories.
And
See, now what?
that's a lot of squash. It is. Fills you
Mhm.
up.
And one thing, like some vegetables you can like basically eat as much as you want of, like cucumbers,
Mhm.
um, spinach, lettuce. But some of them, you don't want to overdo it.
Potatoes.
Um, like I said, that's why I always, recommend my Fitness Pal. And it also will like show you like how much like they break up like
Mhm.
you know, like your carbs, your fat, your sodium, different things. Y- mm, Fruits and vegetables are rich in a lot of things and have health benefits. Yep, it can help with cancer, heart disease, mental decline.
Yep.
So, like for instance, cinnamon can help with lowering your blood sugar.
And I,
Oh,
I,
thank you,
I think
Zach.
this too, Connie. I'd like to add this too. This is something that a bunch of us nurses were talking about because we know that a lot of people like to drink tea. You really need to be careful with tea because it depletes your iron.
See, I
So
didn't
that's
realize
another thing
that.
to do in moderation as well.
See,
Your
like,
best bet is water.
mm, tea
Water.
I drink more during the winter time when it's cold because I tend to have a hard time drinking room temperature water.
Mhm.
Um, it makes me cold for some reason, especially like the more I lose weight, it affects me more. And that's one thing. And y'all might think this is crazy, but like, those that have like a lot of weight to lose and you lose a lot of weight, expect to get cold more.
Yes.
Be like, like there were times that like, I mean, in the summertime, I would be like freezing drinking water.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a good day, Frozen. Don't freeze. um, but yeah, like that's where I tend to drink it. The tea more, but I am typically more of a water girl. Okay, let's move on. All right, this is one of the ones Jane shared. Eat this, not that. And they have a lot of recipes, and I mean, you might want to check out some of the other tabs, like
Hmm.
the tab for groceries. You know,
And I know a couple of the places that the links I'd sent you on some of the tabs, they have grocery tips. There's one that has a quiz that you can take to see if you have what they call, I can't remember what they called it.
yeah,
Trying to
I mean,
think what it was.
because sometimes, like, recipe sites have a lot of helpful information. And this is Taste of Home. See, here's a zucchini crust pizza.
Which, I never thought Taste of Home had healthy recipes until I went looking at it. And I realized they do have a lot of healthy recipes there. Of
You just got
course,
to look in the right section of these websites. But yeah, I mean, so many.
Linda, she put out there, it's a shame water doesn't work on hot flashes. Ice cube between your breasts. An ice cube between your breasts.
You'll when we were having that really hot
It worked.
temperature,
Yeah.
like I couldn't cool off. I mean, I was hot in my house, AC on full blast. I was sticking for like I have a tendency to put my water bottles in the freezer. I like
Yeah.
them icy, but not frozen. But sometimes I leave them in too long and they freeze solid. Then we just let it like defrost. But I was sticking it down my shirt to cool off.
It
It
worked.
worked.
And I'm sorry, but that is a good thing for hot flashes, believe it or not. My husband used to tease me all the time when I had hot flashes like crazy because he'd come in and he'd go, "You've been using an ice cube again. How can you tell?"
This site is called Eating Well,
Yep.
and they have recipes too. That was one Jane shared. Like I said, you gotta love Jane.
Just wacko.
Here's Mayo Clinic.
Yes, Jamie, that's cold hearted.
Okay, where am I? All right, and then this is all recipes, and they have a section with healthy recipes. Ooh, asparagus.
It's one of my favorites.
And then one last thing I'm going to show you for a source with some information. This is something that I had done. From a before I started putting weight back on. I kind of had like a prep type blog on Facebook, and it's still there. I just haven't posted anything in forever. It's called Connie's Food Prep and Recipe Blogs. Oh no, I probably need to do this again. And I have thought about um been wanting to make a Facebook group for my channel to do with weight loss so we could talk more there. See, I would take pictures of stuff that I would and and I posted a lot of recipes. Um See, here was my food journal from my fitness pal.
You know, it would be good for you to print some of those spice mixes that you've done.
And some stuff, actually in the future, wait, weigh in with Connie live. I could share some spice blend recipes if y'all want. Um, and like I said, if y'all have a request like for for help finding like recipes, send me an email. I can try to find some stuff for y'all. But you see, like, it broke down like how many calories I had. On this day, I had 1,427 carbs, fat, protein. This was before I was diabetic. Cholesterol, sodium, sugars, fibers. I love my Fitness Pal. And I did do a video. It's actually under my live tab um where I kind of like tried to show stuff to do with my Fitness Pal. And this was like my Fitbit steps. And like I posted some of the exercise videos. But like I said, I have like all sorts of stuff on here. And y'all might want to, check it out to see some of the things I did. And I also used to like, okay, here's an Angie Fitness video. Oh, this was good. Barbecue chicken pizza from Hungry Girls Cookbook Obsessed.
You
That's
know,
good too.
I use a lot of low carb tortillas for my pizzas. Being single now, I don't have to make more than one, so I just make one and use the low carb tortilla as the base for my pizza.
Yeah, and like, oh, what do you call those things? Um, they're like higher in fiber. It's basically like a, a tortilla.
Like the flatbreads,
Yeah.
some,
And people will, like how you said with the pizzas. Oh, you can do a lot with those things.
yep.
Um, but like this apple dabble yogurt parfait, and that's from Marlene. It's spelled Koch. Her cookbook called Eat What You Love Every Day. I love her cookbooks too. Uh oh, it's kind of. Let's see if I can pull up pull up the pictures to show y'all something. And some of the stuff I really need to start doing again. This was something I did as a weight a motivator at this time, a vision board. So that's something else that y'all can do. Okay, here's my pictures of I would meal plan and I would write down like what I was gonna cook for the whole month for my meals. You're still there, Jane?
Yep.
Okay. But but yeah, that's something y'all can check out too. All right, now we're gonna get into some recipes. I don't know if I'm gonna get to everything that I have in the description box, but that there might be more for y'all to check out. Give y'all lots of good ideas.
Deborah Richardson just pointed out something, and this is something that I have an issue with as well because I am cooking for myself. I do the same thing. I'll make something and eat it for days, for for 4 or 5 days, and I don't want it ever again for a long time. Um, the freezer being small is hard, and the biggest thing is learning to cook in smaller portions for me.
Hmm.
You know,
One thing you can do is like split the recipe maybe in half
Mhm.
or even a fourth of the recipe.
Yeah,
Um, See, normally I would say, yeah, if you're by yourself and before Frank, I was by myself. But a lot of times what I did because I was working and stuff, I would cook over the weekends and like sometimes I would freeze stuff, but I would cook like enough for the week to have my meals for work and you know that's one thing that I manage. But
yeah.
planning things can be very important with weight loss.
I think it's
Um,
probably key,
mhm.
because it also keeps you from buying those things that you really shouldn't.
I see we have Maritza that joined us. Welcome in. Jamie's asking like a pita or a non. How do you say that? Nan.
Naan or naan bread,
Frank saying non. For some
right?
reason,
We'll go with
Frank
what Frank says.
he knows how to pronounce stuff, and I'm like, how do you know this? Like actors and all these famous people that have these weird names. I'm like,
It's
How?
Yeah, Deborah,
um,
that's something I've learned to do is repackage those meat into individual portions. Um, because I don't want to buy just a little bitty thing of ground beef. I've always, bought a big package of ground beef,
hmm.
or ground turkey, whatever, and then breaking it up. And, I have a food saver, so that helps a lot too. It also helps, like when, like with what Connie was talking about, preparing food ahead of time, sealing it up to have it later at another date so that, I'm not wasting it. The only other time it doesn't get wasted is when I make it for, church potluck dinner.
It was flat out the brand. And okay, I found like these how Jamie was asking.
Hmm.
Let me pull up. This is from Walmart's site. But that's what they look like. And like they have the Italian herb light, multi-grain flax, original spinach light.
Well, in my area, every time I go, they're empty. So apparently they're very popular.
Mm. They were like, with Weight Watchers, that was like a big thing.
Hmm. I mean, they
Like,
used it for everything.
yeah, I did Weight Watchers a few times, and that's kind of more like where I gear towards with how I eat. Michelle's saying the cheese wraps are also good.
I do that a lot, lots of times with provolone cheese. Melt it just enough so that I can make it into a cheese wrap for my sandwiches with, lettuce, tomato, and vegetables in it. So, yeah.
Okay, so for the recipes, and all these recipe links are in the description box. This is a 6 ingredient zucchini lasagna. And this is a prime example of substituting vegetables for pasta.
And that is an excellent recipe. I've done this quite often.
And like with lasagnas, you could use like butternut squash is another one, eggplant. Trying to think if I'm forgetting
Spinach,
what was that?
spinach.
Hmm. And I know some people do sweet potato, you know,
Hmm.
replacing the pasta. That's good. I've done that before a long time ago. But I'm gonna make y'all hungry. Michelle just said the same thing. Y'all making me hungry. And some of y'all do gardening, so that's like a good idea, and cheaper than buying stuff from the grocery store. Because like substituting vegetables for pasta can get really expensive if you're buying from the grocery store.
Yeah, I know lots of times I do instead of a pasta salad, I do the same thing and use broccoli or broccoli and cauliflower mixed same way as doing a pasta salad. We really love it. Everyone that I've taken it to is like, oh, this is good.
Because next year I am thinking about trying to do bucket gardening.
Yep.
And here's zucchini nachos.
I don't think I've tried that yet. I need to.
I don't think I've tried it with zucchini, but I've done, I think, sweet potato ones, and that's good. But if you're diabetic, even though sweet potatoes are better than like regular potatoes, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And you could do it too with butternut squash. And there may be even some other vegetables you can make you know, nachos with. Normally, I'll do like, I'll do like chicken, or I get like the lean ground beef or ground turkey. I love my onions, peppers, and mushrooms, and you can put some jalapenos, and I mean you can adapt it to your liking. Now, one thing I tend to do is I usually cut back on the amount of cheese. Um, and being on a low sodium diet,
Yeah.
cheese can be high in sodium. The friendliest cheese is usually Swiss cheese.
Hmm.
So usually I don't put as much cheese as a recipe calls for. I make it friendly to how much, I can have with sodium. Oh, I love a lot of the stuff you can do with vegetables. Oh, Deborah saying maybe an air fryer will be my next investment. And actually, some of the recipes are air fryer recipes. And ooh, air fryers are awesome. Awesome. And Instapots.
I love my Instapot. Oh, I use it a lot.
How how many of y'all have air fryers or Instapots? Let us know which ones y'all have. Or do y'all want one? Or are you scared of the Instapot like I was initially?
I was too, because to me, it reminds me a lot of a pressure cooker. And I've always been terrified of pressure cookers just because my mother always said they'll explode on you. Well, I've used my Instapot for a lot of things, just basically to cook things and then to break it down into smaller portions for later in the week, and it's amazing. Yarning for smile says that Aldi has a cheese alternative that you can't tell the difference, and it's made from veggies.
Ooh. I was just looking at that comment from her too. Sad thing is we don't have an Aldi. They,
No,
they have them in Lafayette. Oh no, all we have is Walmart, Super One, and Champont's.
well, where I live, we have Walmart and Wise's stores. So, if I want to go anywhere, I have to go about 30, 40 minutes out of town where there are some Aldi's. So, and a Trader Joe's in one town. So,
Hmm. But I mean,
but Trader Joe's I find is kind of expensive and highfalutin. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't think it's that big a deal.
Champont's is like that.
No,
Unless you're getting like certain sale products. But but yeah, with the Instapot, like, and I read about some of the horror stories. Because one thing with Instapots, use read the directions and use them properly.
right. And make sure you clean that rim correctly. That's a big thing.
Because like, sometimes you're supposed to, like the liquid's supposed to be so much, and you're not supposed to like have your food past a certain level, and you know make sure all that steam comes out like it's supposed to.
Anita is back. Hi, Anita.
Hi, hi, Anita. I'm so glad to see you. Are you feeling better? Um, no, one thing I've had issues with the air fryers because I've had two, and both of mine that I've had end up going out on me after so long because I need to get another one. But like, but I still love them. So I'm not the only one that they go out on. Yours went out on you before, Jane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had one. I made the mistake of getting one that was cheaper, and like some of the wiring started melting in it.
Wow.
And I saw like a little section that looked on the casing that looked like a little melted spot, and I showed it to Frank, and he was like, "That's not safe to use."
No, you have to be careful. You have to and that's true of any appliance that you use, even crock pots. Because many times crock pots you don't realize. I know a lot of people take that, the cord and they'll wrap it around. Well, that does some damage to the cord every time you do that. So you need to inspect those cords to make sure that they're not frayed or, looking kind of worn and melty in spots.
And that's one thing, like yard sales, check those cords
Yeah.
when you buy something used, because sometimes there's like an issue with the cord that could be unsafe.
Oh, Nana Michelle has an instant vortex air fryer.
Ooh,
I don't think I've heard of. Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that now.
ooh. Yeah, crock pots are awesome too.
Yeah, those are my favorites.
Oh, Anita says she's still not feeling better. Aw, I'm sorry, Anita.
Me too. I hope you feel better soon.
But
Yeah, I have a little crock pot and a big crock pot, so and I use them a lot.
I love kitchen gadgets. But back to cheese. Like there was this one time when I was doing a lot of um paleo or paleo paleo
Yep.
recipes. I did this cheese substitute, and I want to say it was made from some type of nuts. I'm pretty sure I have the recipe in my little Facebook blog thingy. That stuff was good. I mean, it doesn't really taste like cheese, so but it was awesome though. I mean, so if you look, if you're expecting it to taste like cheese, it doesn't. Oh yes, soup. And I do have some good soup recipes that, and I don't, and what's funny is I like being finished for two before Granny D starts. Um, I don't know if y'all want me to run longer and if Jane can stay longer.
Yeah, I
You
got no.
know, let me know, in the chat if y'all want me to go longer. Because I really hadn't touched on a lot of the recipes like I wanted to. We've shared a few, and we shared some good recipe sources, Anita. See, here is an air fryer apple pie breakfast bowl. Hungry girl. And like this one, all you need is apple, cinnamon, and vanilla Greek yogurt. It's not hard to make.
Yeah, I found the recipe that was real easy using a microwave and apples.
Mm.
Basically, just cutting up your apple, just one apple, putting it in a mug, adding just a little bit of butter, unsalted butter, and then you'll cook it for 3 to 5 minutes to soften the apples. And then you'll put just a little bit of sweetener for those of you that are diabetic like me. You put a non-sugar sweetener in it if you want, or I use Lancanto maple syrup for a lot of things. Put a little bit of that in it and some cinnamon. Oh, that's a good dessert. Plus, I'm
I
getting
mean,
an apple.
I know I have at least one like microwave type recipe. Um, This is a healthy copycat store books breakfast swap. It has spinach, tomato, feta, and egg wrap. You know,
Hmm.
and there's one thing: Weight Watchers got on an egg kick. Um, I personally, I'm not a fan of eggs. I only use it as a binding agent. Sometimes I wish I did like eggs though, but
I go in circles with eggs. There's times where that I eat eggs quite a bit, and then other times I look at them in the refrigerator and say, I don't know why I bought them.
like omelets, they look like they would be so amazing, but I can't do eggs. I've tried eating them.
Well, and
Um,
some people don't like eggs, so don't beat yourself up.
I don't like eggs. I don't like beans. This is a healthy air fryer egg frittata recipe. And one thing too, a lot of times, certain things with the air fryer, you can also put in the oven.
Hmm.
Um, because there are times I prefer to do something in the oven over the air fryer. It just depends. This is a low carb meat lovers pizza stuff zucchini, and you'll see a lot of like healthy recipes where they do like zucchini boat type things. Now, I personally wouldn't go for the pepperoni,
Hmm.
even if you get like the turkey pepperoni. Um, because I mean, if you look right here, 766 milligrams of sodium.
Yeah.
Um, like I would go more for using either chicken as a topping or like ground turkey or a lean ground meat.
Or like a turkey sausage.
But even turkey sausage is usually high in
And that
sodium.
and that depends because I take it back. We have another grocer here, Save a Lot. They will make it the way you want it. You can tell them, I would like you to make me ground chicken with no extra seasoning whatsoever, or you can ask them to put seasoning in it to make like a sausage, and they will do that. Um,
We
so,
have a couple of places in town that you can get them to specially make like your sausage, and we've done it a few times. Um, but like you usually have to buy like so much.
well, that's a good thing about this one. They don't care, how much you buy. You just tell them what you would like, and they'll mix it up fresh that morning, and you go pick it up.
And really, the funny thing is the place that does it is actually like not that far from me at all. I, like there's been times I've walked there. That's how close it is. Um, and another thing, I probably wouldn't use the bacon, even like turkey bacon. You know, bacon's high in sodium.
Yep.
But you can use like healthier pizza toppings. You
Hmm.
know, aim for your veggies more. Your healthy meat. But some of y'all don't have to watch y'all sodium as closely. And if you're really craving pepperoni, here you go. But
Okay, what is this Alabama white sauce? I keep hearing about it, but I've never seen it.
I've never heard of it.
So dish out. What's the yard? What's the, What's the Alabama white sauce all about?
And speaking of, that 2 ingredient dough, here's a
Yep.
pita pocket recipe. And you see, like, this is one thing about Hungry Girl, like anyone doing Weight Watchers, she puts the Weight Watchers point value.
Hmm.
And she usually puts the program, because like I said, every year they change their program. Some of it's a money racket,
Hmm.
but some of it is based on research. Um,
Yeah, but honestly, they don't need to change the name every time. They could just, share that there's new research.
mhm. And I don't think they should do it every single year.
Yeah.
And here's a slow cooker French onion soup recipe.
Oh,
Ooh, French onion soup is good. And like one thing, you could either make your own broth if you're watching your sodium, or you can get the no salt added broth.
mm-hmm.
And this is something that frustrates me on food labels. Like here they say 6 cups reduced sodium beef broth. And you'll see like low sodium beef broth. That stuff is not low sodium.
Well, it has 10 grams, 10 milligrams less. Come on.
you know, yeah, it has less sodium than the original, but read how much sodium is
Yeah,
in that low sodium.
yeah, you got to read the labels.
You got to look
Yeah.
for no salt added.
Okay, apparently the white sauce is apple cider vinegar and spices.
Interesting. And
Hmm.
like those watching their sodium, vinegar
Yeah.
is a popular thing because it tricks your taste buds so you don't miss the salt. All right. And here's an air fryer pizza pocket recipe with 2 ingredient dough. Oh, that dough was very popular. And like I said, some of y'all that are watching y'all Corbs, this may not be your recipe.
Right. But it might be something you'd be willing to do once in a while.
Mm. Because I mean, there's different programs to lose weight.
And usually there's a workaround.
Hmm.
Always. You can always find something that comes so close to it you don't really miss what you thought you had to have.
This type of recipe is something that I loved having for breakfast. I haven't done this in a while. Have y'all ever had overnight oats?
Hmm.
They are awesome. And the stuff you can do with it. Now, this one is a Tin Roof Sunday overnight oat recipe. Um, and normally I would do like the vanilla almond milk, old fashioned oats. Now, I didn't use protein powder and I didn't use chia seeds. If you want to add a little sweetener, like you could add a little stevia, but I never added, that to mine. And the same with salt, but that's up to you.
Yeah, and I think the thing also depends on the oats you use. When I
Hmm.
used oats, I used Irish oats. Um, I'm not a fan of the Quaker oats because to me they taste like cardboard box, but that's just me. Other folks may be fine with it, but I found that I like to use Irish oats, and they have a higher protein level anyway in them. So,
Interesting. Yeah, protein makes you feel fuller.
mhm.
Um, and I also recommend whole grains, like the
Yep.
whole wheat. Um, you can use different fruits. Like red, white, and blue. Put some, strawberries, blueberries. You can use basically any fruit. And like here they call for light chocolate syrup. Um, Now, one thing I used a lot of times for chocolate flavor was the unsweetened cocoa powder.
Mhm.
Um, you know, the varieties with overnight oats. Yummy, yummy for my tum tum. Ah, Kim says she makes them all the time. Oh yeah, apple crisp, almond joy. Yeah, I mean just Google overnight oat recipes and it will give you all sorts of ideas.
Yep.
Um, I mean, y'all can tell I'm a foodie, huh? Here's a pork tenderloin cauliflower fried rice recipe. Now, cauliflower rice, I'm kind of I'm not really a fan of cauliflower, but I have seen like other vegetables used as rice, like butternut
Mm.
squash. I think I've even seen carrot in the grocery store. Now I did try making my own cauliflower rice. Oh, that's a process
Very big process.
because you got to like drain the moisture using like a cheesecloth and stuff. Ooh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot easier to
Flour.
buy from the grocery store. The
Just
one,
buy the frozen.
um, but like I said, here's a good idea. Or you could do like a chicken fried rice.
Yeah.
Use chicken instead of the pork. Okay, you have a good day, Linda. Yeah, for those that have to leave, that are leaving and stuff, like I said, y'all can come back to all these recipe links. They're in the description box. But I hope I'm giving y'all some good ideas and some helpful information and advice on being healthier. Oh, look, Brenda's here. How are you today, Brenda? So glad to see you.
Zach, I tried soy milk once too, and it reminded me of of Santa Claus, where Tim Allen makes the face. Yeah, I don't care for soy milk either.
Yeah, and some of that's an acquired taste. What got me using the almond milk was because it was lower in calories.
Yeah, I don't mind almond milk or even oat milk. I'll use oat milk too.
And I started doing it when I used to do Weight Watchers, and it was lower in points.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Weight Watchers, you had those little tricks to get lower points.
Oh, yeah, a lot of tricks.
That's
Now,
good, Brenda.
I have to tell you a funny story about when I was going to Weight Watchers. The woman that used to sit in front of me in Weight Watchers, She has a store called Nan's Donuts. She makes donuts. She's Amish. She would come in smelling like those donuts.
Oh no.
And I'd tell her, "You didn't bring me a peach-filled donut." And she would just turn around and slap me. "Stop it. We know we're not here for that."
And I think it may have been Zach. But I remember someone had asked me like about Weight Watchers if it works.
It does work if you work it.
Hmm.
But
If you do it properly,
but I
it
will tell
works.
you, I have had several doctors, including endocrinologists, tell me if you are a diabetic, you have to be very careful with Weight Watchers.
But you can
Was their
still do.
only suggestion. You could still do it, but you have to be very careful with it because sometimes they allow you things as a diabetic you need to stay away
Mhm. And the same thing with,
from.
having to watch your sodium.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff that you see a lot of people doing on Weight Watchers is high in sodium.
Hmm.
Where, like, I couldn't have those foods. But with Weight Watchers, technically, you can have anything
Hmm.
as long as you count it within your points. Um, yeah, I lost 140 pounds one of the times I did Weight Watchers. I was so close to my goal weight. I was like, I think around 25 pounds away. Didn't happen. um, and another thing too, and this is something they don't really advertise, as you lose weight, you got to adjust your points. Your
Right.
points decrease. And I think it was like every 5 pounds you lost a point until you hit a certain point. But that
Right.
was like when you were close to your goal weight. And they tend not to advertise that. Or when
Mm.
they do say it, they'll say periodically you need to redo the initial assessment test. But, I figured out, it was at every 5 pounds. So, and there's little things, and be careful with your bonus points or your
Well,
exercise points.
and the Weight Watchers that I did, if you had certain points, I mean, they gave you prizes for points. You could go in and shop in their store for their products, but you have to look at the labels of those products because many times they are high in sodium because they've substituted something for it.
Hmm. Because that's the thing. You make something low fat, you're substituting it with either sugar or
Yeah.
salt.
Yep.
Um, but the thing, like, at the meetings, they always had, their products out, trying to get the members to buy it. Um, I've done tops, which is kind of similar, taking pounds off, taking pounds off sensibly. It's a lot cheaper than Weight Watchers.
Yeah. But the big thing about both of those is there is a lot of inspiration. There is a lot of sharing of struggles that you're going through. And plus, they do give you a lot of tips and tricks. So, that is the pro of it.
Hmm. And and if you go to their website, I think it's tops.org.
Hmm.
You can see if there's meetings in your area.
Right.
If that's something you're interested in. And then I know there's like the paleo, that's one of the things. Keto is a very popular one. Um, but like I said, we support, you know, as long as you're being healthy, and not doing anything unhealthy, we support it.
What works for you?
Mhm. What works for me may not work for you, and vice versa.
Look,
Um,
Christy had a cable TV show. Oh, yeah, I'm with you, Deborah. Christy needs to tell us about that.
oh yeah, and 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 like Weight Watchers, it's changed a lot over the years. Even the very first time that I did it, and I mean, I haven't done it like actually like going to the meetings in a long time because the closest meeting is in Opelousas, and it's not convenient.
Well,
Um,
I quit Weight Watchers because it's $45 a month.
yeah, it is pricier. Back when I really did it, like when I lost a lot of the weight it was cheaper. I think it was like $10 a week back then.
Yeah,
Um, but it helped me. And sometimes investing the money is worth it.
right. And sometimes that's incentive for you. So I'm at an age I'm like, nope, not gonna put that much into it.
And
I
like
go to a different place for that money, like yarn.
and Christy saying at my age, I'm not concerned about being 30 pounds overweight. And that's one thing. You may not be the weight that like they recommend. If you're comfortable, you know, now I do advise trying to be healthy because, the health problems that come with being non-healthy. Um, but I mean, you know, like I try to do stuff just like if people want to try to be healthier, some people may not want to lose weight or need to lose weight. Um, you know, you might just want to maintain your weight or but I mean, I try to kind of cover, everybody
Hmm.
as much as I can. Yeah, the mason jars. That's what I use to do the overnight oats.
And I like the mason jars for salads too, because those are nice to make salads that way.
I'm gonna have to try that. But I know like a lot of times, like if you have like a container you can cover and go shake, shake, shake. That's one way that makes your salad dressing go
Right.
further where
Yeah,
you don't lose as much.
because you know that little 2 tablespoons doesn't cover a whole lot of salad, you know. Sometimes you need to be able to shake it up so it feels like it's more.
Christy saying it started out as Christie's Rendezvous. Then later it was shortened to Christie, sang and featured a lot of great bands. It was the infancy of cable back then.
That is cool,
I
Christy.
want I want to hear you sing, Christy.
She said a lot of her old shows are on Vimeo.
Interesting.
Ooh,
I never knew she had a TV show.
me either. Now we get to go check out some Christy vids.
All right, let's get back to some recipes. See, like at this time, I could tell most people at Granny D's.
Yeah.
But, there is a replay. People can come back and watch what they didn't see on replay, or you had a big New York following. Girl, you had an interesting life.
I am in awe.
That's like Jade.
Like,
Some of the,
cool.
some of the stuff Jade did. I was like, wow. But yeah, and Jane, if like you gotta go at a certain point, just let me know.
Okay. I'm
because I
good.
don't know what your plans are. Um, but I want to try to get more into recipes.
Yeah. Recipes, recipes.
This is a cheeseburger quesadilla snack.
Now, I like doing quesadillas or using tortillas for a lot of things. I even do just, I call it a grilled cheese sandwich with a quesadilla. Sometimes I just have a slice of onion, slice of tomato, and the cheese and the tortilla, and that is good.
Oh, it's all good. We've gotten sidetracked throughout the live, and then we've gotten to talking about other things, weight loss related.
Oh, that's a normal.
Hmm. Sometimes I think I might have to make some of my lives longer sometimes because sometimes like the topics, it's hard to like.
Do it in just a small chunk.
Hmm. See, this is that everything bagel recipe, and that uses that 3 ingredient dough, that
Wow.
popular dough recipe. Um, oh, have y'all tried the everything bagel seasoning mix?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's good.
I think
Now
I'm missing
I make my own and leave the salt out, but oh, it is good. Good, 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 good.
Yeah,
And then what was that?
I'm not a big fan of a lot of salt. Too many times I think things are too salty, so I
Now, if
think
you
maybe that's a good thing because it's natural that I don't like a lot of salt.
it really is because salt will raise a person's blood pressure.
Well, and when I eat broccoli, I want to taste the broccoli, not the salt. So,
Hmm. And really, we do. The average American uses way too much salt.
oh yeah. I know people that salt things before they even taste it. And
And
I'm
then,
like,
like with the bagels and stuff, you can do different things with the bagels. I think I think I would do like a pumpkin bagel where I added some pumpkin puree to it before.
that sounds good.
I like to play.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes with food, we're afraid to try things. Um, One of my husband's favorite meals, and it was real simple. I mean, if I was cooking like a pork loin or even a roast, I would just put some bell peppers, onions in it, maybe some different vegetables and let them cook together. And he was always like, "Oh my gosh, that is so good." And I'd be like,
Hmm.
"It's just vegetables." He goes, "Did you put any spices in it?" No,
Have
it's
fun with your
naked.
food.
It's naked.
Hi, Samuel. How are you today? Okay, this is one of those things that I was thinking of earlier with the microwave recipes. This is an apple French toast in a mug. The
Mm,
mug recipes. Um, and that was one thing I used to do a lot of for breakfast back in the day um was French toast, and I mean different fruit on them. I had fun. And some of those websites for the recipes has a lot of good French toast recipes. Um, and yeah, I know I don't care for egg. And usually, like I would only use the egg whites, and I would get as much of the egg off as I could. Like I just wanted it just enough to, you know, I didn't like much egg on mine. And sometimes I would still have more than what I cared for. Me and my eggs. Christy has to make something to eat. I know I'm making everyone hungry.
Well, and
But
one of the snacks that I've always liked, and it's a real simple snack, it's just apple slices with peanut butter.
another thing that you can use instead of peanut butter that's, not as fattening and high in calories, there's a peanut butter powder.
Yep,
And I advise there's one that don't add sugar or sodium to it. I
right.
think it's Jif that makes it. Now, this is frozen Mexican mocha
Mm,
for y'all coffee lovers. And like for instance, you're using unsweetened cocoa powder, some coffee granules, some sugar-free French vanilla powdered creamer, no calorie sweetener, cinnamon. They have a dash of cayenne pepper. Um, but you can leave that out if you can't handle the spice. But I think that's more to bring out like the chocolate
I
flavor.
was going to say that'll bring out the chocolate flavor a little deeper. That's the only.
Vanilla,
It doesn't add really much spice to it.
unsweetened vanilla almond milk, ice. And the thing is, like, normally they recommend that you get 2 servings of milk a day.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be like your way of getting your milk serving in
Mm-hmm.
and having your coffee at the same time.
That will be a blessing.
A lot of times I love like the frozen coffee type drinks. This is an air fryer cheeseburger dumpling recipe.
Hmm. I don't think I've ever had a cheeseburger dumpling.
Me either.
That sounds interesting. I'm
But
curious.
like with Chinese food, ooh, the dumplings. Salt City.
Oh yeah. That is the one thing that I tried one time and I thought, ooh, why did they put so much salt in it?
But you can also make them. I mean, it is more work, but you can make them healthier. Now, here's another nacho recipe using bell peppers. This is a breakfast one.
I never thought of using bell peppers for nachos.
That is
That's
an idea.
delicious,
And like I said, those that do gardening,
especially if you have an overabundance of bell peppers.
mm-hmm.
Our church has a garden that they have, and they were overrun with bell peppers one time. And I mean, I was actually cutting them up, freezing them, blanching them, freezing them. But wow. Yeah, the
Yeah.
iced lattes are fattening and way too much sugar, which is why these recipe sites with their makeovers are great because you don't miss
Mhm.
it.
But I know like some people don't like any, like using any type of sugar substitutes.
Yeah, I have a friend who does.
So, you know, but in the same aspect, like I always say, do what works for you. Um, sometimes you can't always just go cold turkey
Right.
and completely, because I mean I know I like the sugar-free drink mixes sometimes in my water to give it a little flavor.
Hmm.
I like my coffee. I use sugar-free creamers and stevia.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I've
mean,
used I have a friend,
You're
he
evil.
uses honey instead. So, honey or maple syrup because you can use just a tiny bit of it for those kind of things. And that works for her. So,
And there's some level you just have to pick your poison.
yeah. And Jamie, one of my favorite meals with having sweet peppers is either tuna salad or chicken salad. Never tried guacamole with it though. Mm.
Like you can make like a avocado toast.
Hmm.
Here's a recipe for I think it's pronounced jicama fries. And that's one thing I love using vegetables, different vegetables to make like French fries.
Let me tell you, jicama, the other name for it is Jerusalem artichoke. But jicama makes a great salad. My mother used to do this all the time. She made her own Catalina dressing. She was diabetic. She made her own Catalina dressing, and she would just cut up jicama, and we would have that. Just dip it in that Catalina dressing. It's so good, raw. I mean, raw. She never tried cooking it, but we just loved eating it raw.
I used to make, a lot of my own salad dressings. I used to do a homemade Catalina, Catalina, Italian, vinaigrettes. Ooh, yummy, yummy. But like this one's an air fryer
Hmm.
recipe. You could also bake in your oven to make
Hmm.
vegetable French fries. I love butternut squash ones. Um, you can do like that. Carrots. Uh, what's an zucchini? You can do, but zucchini can kind of get weird.
Yeah.
It's more touchy. All right. Next up, this is a meatball porn pepper sub where you use a bell pepper instead of a sub roll.
I've done that. It's good. And you don't miss the bread. Honestly, you don't miss the bread.
Okra fries? I've never heard of that. I'm gonna have to try that one. How would you make oak like? Do you have a recipe or something?
Okra fries?
Yeah, because if you have a recipe, you're gonna have to share that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to try to Google that too. Let me see real
yeah,
quick.
okra is my favorite.
I'm gonna look up for air fryer so it's healthier. Interesting. Let me
See,
pull that.
I have your live pulled up to watch later today.
Yeah, look. Here's a recipe for it. Oh, I'm gonna have to try that one day.
Ooh, me too.
See, that's what I love about lives, the ideas you can get. Just those in the chat. And then sometimes, people watching on the replay sometimes will share things. See, here's a carrot fry recipe.
Okay, that's my nemesis. I don't like cooked carrots.
I can be funny about texture of cooked vegetables. I'm weird, but I love like the baked fries, vegetable fries.
Hmm.
Oops, hit the wrong thing.
I
All
like
right.
I'd like doing the green beans that way too.
This is a baked pasta with sausage and spinach, but you could also use, like chicken, a different meat, like like a lean ground beef,
Mhm.
um, ground turkey. And that's one thing. A lot of times in recipes, you can substitute your meats. Here's a chicken enchilada stuffed zucchini boat. And just because you're watching what you eat doesn't mean you have to give up your favorite foods. You just got to learn how to make them healthier.
Or make them different.
Mhm.
And sometimes you have to say it's okay to have this one time. At Thanksgiving, one of my kids' favorites has always been when I make turkey enchiladas. And I will use the corn tortillas and the leftover turkey, and I will make the turkey enchiladas, and say, okay, it's all right this one time. And generally, what I'll do is I have a smaller portion of it with a larger
Mhm.
salad.
And sometimes you do have to do that.
Hmm.
See, here's a chicken enchilada recipe.
Yeah, and I know there's a keto recipe that I was going to try, but I just haven't gotten enough guts to try it yet. And it is an enchilada bake. And instead of using noodles or zucchini, they use um, chicken and
Mhm.
thin strips of chicken, as the noodle. And I thought, with beef? You know what I mean? In my mind, I'm like, with beef?
Play with your food.
Well, I keep telling myself, just try it.
And like here's a roasted butternut squash lasagna recipe.
Oh, that sounds good.
So who's gonna cook some of these recipes today? Here's a turkey sloppy Joe recipe. I'm sorry, sloppy Joe pasta recipe.
Well, sloppy Joe sounds good too. And that's another thing for those people that are afraid of. I know a lot of people don't like using ground beef because of the fat in the ground beef. But
Hmm.
what I found is because I'll use ground beef and I'll use ground turkey. But when I was first using ground turkey, I didn't care for it by itself because it is drier. There's less
Hmm.
fat. But what I found is if I mixed a little bit of the ground beef in with it, I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, and some people do that. And another thing too, if you're using the fattier ground beef,
Mm.
you can drain that fat off.
Yeah.
And I think rinsing also helps.
Yeah, I've seen where a lot of people rinse,
Hmm.
and
So
I've done
that
that before.
see, I normally get the 90% lean. Um, See, it used to be Frank would eat the ground turkey, but then he got to where he couldn't handle it. So I've had to kind of adapt, and that's where we started getting the 90% lean.
Well, and sometimes the ground turkey, it depends on what they use. Sometimes they use more dark meat, and sometimes they'll use both the white and the dark, and it's okay. But I found if they use just the dark meat, it the taste and the texture of it is very different.
See, here we have a one pot Cajun chicken and sausage pasta. Yummy!
Mm.
And you can do it where you just use chicken and not sausage. Play around. Jamie's going out to eat. And here's an Instapot chicken noodle soup recipe. Oh, I love this recipe. But I think this is a recipe. No, okay. I thought I had to adapt it more to be healthier. But I love this. And one thing I love to do, like for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, when you cook a turkey, you save your broth from the turkey
Yep.
and use like your turkey and make a turkey noodle soup.
Yep.
Hey, buddy, you want to say hi to everybody? Yeah. Come on. Oops. Hopefully,
Hey, buddy.
hopefully y'all didn't see that.
How handsome he is.
Say hi. Oh,
He's saying hi.
hey, I'm a big man. Y'all hear him meow? He don't like being held.
Only on his terms.
I put him on his bed. Okay. Let me close that one. I figured y'all needed y'all buddy fix today.
I don't think I've heard of the Whole30 diet.
I've heard of it.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
Here's a copycat recipe for Wendy's summer berry chicken salad.
That is one of my favorite salads.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't use, I think it's feta cheese they use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use that.
You don't like stinky feet?
No. But like this is one like my favorite salad. And I make this at least once a month.
Yep.
I get the strawberries, blackberries. I also use blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, well, it depends. Sometimes I use spinach. Sometimes I mix the iceberg lettuce mix stuff with or I use iceberg. It just depends on my mood.
Yep.
Love it. Or chicken and apples is also good in a salad. Ooh, I love me some salad. Jamie said, "No, she wants salad."
Well, you can get one.
I am a bad influence. Oh, here's a soup recipe.
Deborah, I used to have a mental block on fruit on my salad too until I had that Wendy's summer salad. And the only reason I tried it is because someone dared me to try it. And now I am a big fan of fruit on the salad.
Mm-hmm. Don't knock it till you tried it.
Yeah. And if they hadn't have dared me, I probably would have never had it.
This one's an Instapot butternut squash soup. And butternut squash soup is good. Pumpkin pumpkin soup is good too.
You don't see pumpkin soup very often. anywhere.
I don't know if I found a recipe for today for that or not. Um, because it may have been in a cookbook that the recipe I had cooked before, and I went with stuff that I knew would be safe to share. Here's a hamburger helper recipe. And the funny thing is, I had tried this recipe a few months back. And I think pretty much the same time, I think it was Nisi, handly made O.
Hmm.
She had posted on her community page about making a dish, and we're pretty sure we both made the same recipe. Yeah, I think I had doctored this up some, but that was the basic recipe I used. And then here's that taco fiesta bubble up casserole that we briefly talked about earlier. Then this is a chicken parmesan spaghetti bake. Yummy, yummy. And then you could use spaghetti squash. I think they use pasta there, it looks like.
Hmm.
You've been trying to make butternut soup since you learned how to cook. It's good. Here's a chicken pot pie soup recipe. Yummy, yummy for my tum tum.
Okay, that's what they call chicken pot pie here in Pennsylvania. And the very first time we went to a restaurant, someone said, "Oh, you've got to get the chicken pot pie." I thought it was chicken pot pie like what I was used to, which is with the crust. I was like, "This is soup." It was good. Don't knock it. But I was like, "This is not pot pie. This is soup." And they told me, "What are you used to?" And I told them, they said, "Oh, no, that's a meat pie." I said, "No, a meat pie doesn't have anything else in it but meat and spices."
Here we have an air fryer butternut squash fries recipe. Now, normally when I do butternut squash, my go-to seasoning is usually garlic powder, onion powder, and a touch of cayenne. But the cinnamon does make me curious.
I wonder if that would make it more like a dessert.
I'm kind of thinking. Now, I don't know if I would definitely like it or not, because one time, the first time I cooked a butternut squash, I did like the savory seasonings, and
Hmm.
I did not like it. And really, I'm shocked I tried it again. I am shocked. But then whenever I did it like that, that, and I think like I may have done like paprika too, I think. And it was good. I was like, "Ooh, I like it like this." So sometimes seasoning makes a difference. This is healthy cheesecake style Memphis pulled pork sandwich recipe. And you could also use the bell pepper instead of the bread, like what we saw before.
Or use the naan. instead. Flatbread, flat out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So who likes beets? I am one that would not touch beets, okay? I thought
Mm-mm.
they looked gross.
I tried them
Oh,
once, never again.
but okay, you've got to try this recipe. This is awesome. This is baked beet chips. And they are awesome. But you want to, like, I find they got to be cooked all the way because sometimes, like, they don't cook evenly. And, like, sometimes you get some that taste too much like beets. And I don't like that. And that's one thing, like, I want to know how they get like the slicings so uniform. Because even when you use like the slicer device or like the food processor slicing thing, it's still not consistently the same with each piece. And they cook differently. But beet chips, you got to try it.
Okay, I'll try once.
Exactly. If you don't like it, don't eat it again. But you see, I have a mandolin slicer, and it's still
So do I, and I can't get them even.
because sometimes, you know, your your it's sized differently throughout.
I'm wondering if they have an electric mandolin. You know,
Maybe
like the deli slicers that you can set at a certain thickness.
I don't know. Maybe they cut off like the extra sides. I don't know.
We'll have to go to a beet factory to watch it.
Those that love pumpkin spice, and we're approaching pumpkin spice season. Here's a pumpkin spice latte swappuccino recipe.
I don't think I've had anything with pumpkin spice in it. Maybe I should try that too. Salad shooter.
You know what's funny? I used to turn my nose at pumpkin or pumpkin spice. But then I started thinking I never tried it. How do
Yeah,
I know if I don't like it if I never tried it? And
because
then
it
I,
doesn't sound like it should be in your coffee. That's why.
and then I tried it and I loved it.
Oh, so I'm gonna have to try it.
All right, have a good day, Jamie. Yeah, most people have had to go by now. But I think, six more recipes. Then I'll wrap things up. And I figure some people can catch the replay if they want to.
Yep.
And all the recipes or in the description box too. All right, this is healthy chicken parm casserole recipe.
Hmm.
See, here's another overnight oat recipe. Banana French toast.
I
And
like that.
banana, huh?
I like that one. That
Yeah,
one's good.
bananas is another. You know, you could put some cocoa powder with bananas.
Mm-hmm. Tasty.
Oh, and here's a pumpkin spice latte overnight oats. And I've done that too, doing like, more of a coffee type
Mm-hmm.
overnight oat where you add a little bit of coffee in it. All right, three more. Here's a lower carb zucchini chicken enchilada.
That looks good. I must be getting hungry.
Yeah, I'm going to be eating after. All right. Here's another fry recipe, delicata squash. And you see, this squash, like, I only found it, I think, like 1 year at
I don't
Walmart
think
in
I've
my
ever
area.
seen it.
Huh?
I don't think I've ever even seen that kind of squash.
You know, an acorn squash is another
Hmm.
squash one you can make into fries.
And right now it's pretty cheap. It's like $1.25 a squash.
And then sometimes farmer markets are a good place.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, farmers markets are usually cheaper than the grocery store. I know I had never heard of it before until like it may have been in one of a recipe group that I was in and someone brought it up. And here's a cheeseburger lasagna. And that was the last recipe. So I hope y'all enjoyed the recipes today. Sorry I made y'all hungry. And like I said, I hope that gives you some healthier alternatives. Um, Especially like, those that are trying to lose weight. But yeah. So is there anything that you have that you want to share, Jane?
No, just don't be afraid to try new things. Like you said, normally I do not like beets. I've tried beets, but you talked about those chips, and I think I'm going to get some beets and I'm going to try it. So don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to experiment and play with your food. Try some different combinations.
Yeah, even
Use
even though
whatever
you were
spices on them and go for it.
even though you were always taught as a child not to play with your food,
Go
play.
ahead, play with it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and play my little closing video, and I do need to update that, but so that way I can thank my Stitch and Alien members.
Yep.
Let me find my video. Like I said, I'm behind on some stuff that I need to do. Oh, that was the wrong one. Oops. Oh, gee. It's one of those days. Hold up a second.
Yep. I'm doing the same thing, dancing.
Hey, anytime you hear my intro or like, my closing videos, I start dancing to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only one that I don't have on it yet that I need to add is Cindy with Lulu's Treasure Trove. Um, but everyone else is on there. I'm just slow at updating. But anyway, I think that covers everything. I enjoyed chatting with everyone today.
Me too. It was fun.
Yep, and I should be live Tuesday unless something happens. At 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if I recall right, I think Charity It's my guest store with frog crochet. Let me pull it up real quick. My calendar to make sure. Yeah, and we're going to be talking about baby doll dresses.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. And more than likely Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, me and Pam are going to do our monthly collab live, just be stitching with Pam and Connie. We were supposed to do it this past week, but I wasn't feeling good that day. And we were we have plans to reschedule it. That's when we should be doing it. I do need to double check my schedule. I don't think I have anything going on Wednesday, but but like I said, we'll notify, put the word out once we know definitely when we're doing the live, but that's when it should be. And be on the lookout, probably Monday or Tuesday, for my crochet make along starting. I'll put the supply list out first. Um, Video and kind of talking about it, showing what the scarf looks like, so people can get prepared, and then um, probably about 5 or 6 days later, I'll post the start of it, and hopefully I can get my knit one done and have that for y'all by the start of next week. So anyway, I know I'm talking. I hope y'all all have a fabulous uni day. Be the light, and bye.